So I bought a Rolex. I'm gonna break down the things going through my head when I decided to make this purchase so that you know why I would spend quite a chunk of money on a watch that literally tells the time. And I used to watch videos like this all the time, so I think this would be pretty fun. So first, let me take this off and let's talk about the exact Rolex that I bought. So this is a Rolex Yachtmaster 37. The 37 means that it's a 37mm dial, which is smaller than the typical Rolexes you're gonna see. I'm a smaller guy, got smaller wrists, so this makes a lot of sense for me. From my very limited knowledge of the watch industry, this is a professional dive watch. It's got oyster steel, platinum, and a rhodium dial, I believe. If you want to get the full stats, you can go to the Rolex website and you'll see it all there. One thing that is super cool when you buy a Rolex is you get this big fancy box. You've probably seen them on TikToks and such. Piece comes in a box like this. It looks pretty cool. And then when you pull this part back, you get two things. You get a little booklet and you get your official Rolex card, which I'm not going to show you because it has the serial number on there. It's pretty incredible to hold this, to be honest. I was definitely not one of those people that dreamed about buying a Rolex. I know some people who make these videos, have dreamt about it since they were 10 years old as a kid. I'll be honest, I only started looking into watches recently, the last couple of years, but nonetheless, this feels fantastic to buy this. So let's first talk about how I got the Rolex, because buying a Rolex is not the easiest thing in the world. My first experience with trying to buy a Rolex was me messaging a authorized dealer on Instagram. They told me I would have to come to the shop to get the Rolex experience to see which models might fit me best, and then to see how long I would have to wait to actually get the piece. It was an extremely underwhelming experience. I went to the dealer. They had no idea who I was. I told them that we had spoke on Instagram and they couldn't remember. And they basically said, "What do you want?" I explained, I want to buy a watch. I know there's a waiting list. Can I put my name down? What's the waiting list like, etc. Long story short, they said 2 to 3 years minimum for even just one of the more basic pieces. And I kind of got disheartened and I kind of gave up on getting a Rolex because it was something I wanted to do, but I decided I would probably rather just spend a little bit more money, buy it at market price, but get it sooner because I want to wear it. So literally 2 weeks ago, I met a guy, went out for dinner with him, his girlfriend, and my girlfriend, and another couple. So there was 3 couples, and he was wearing a Rolex. It was a big boy Rolex, and we got on very well. He's into the same things I'm into: fitness, business, etc. He works overseas in the oil industry, has quite a bit of dough, and was massive into buying watches. I mean, this guy, he bought his first watch in 2010 and is still buying them literally every month. Buys them for friends, for family, hooks people up basically. He's got great purchase history, got good reputation with a good few dealers. Family members and other people he knows have multiple accounts that he can use. So long story short, he has access to dealers that have Rolexes, and they assigned them to him because he buys a shit ton of watches, which is very important. If you want to get offered Rolexes, from what I understand, you have to buy what they give you, and a lot of them. So I'm back once again and the lighting has changed, and it is about 3 hours later. My camera got full. I had to clear the camera storage. It took way longer than expected. I had to take a couple calls as well, but we're back. I was explaining how the purchase of the watch came to be. And originally I had planned to buy the Sea Dweller from my connection, but ended up actually getting the Yachtmaster 37. So let me just dive straight into the reasons why I made this purchase and why it made sense. Reason number 1 for me was to move money out of bank accounts and into more assets. And I thought that getting a watch would be definitely a good place to start. And I definitely plan to expand the collection so that I have a nice chunk of wealth in watches. There is a potential for the watch to increase in value as an investment piece over time. Not that I'm overly concerned or worried about that. Even if it just holds its value, I'm pretty happy with that. If it holds its value, I get to wear it in the meantime. That's a win-win. The second motive and reason why I decided, let me just buy the watch, even though I'd only met this guy a couple of weeks ago, was for the networking benefits. You see, by buying this from my connection, this solidifies my relationship with him, and this watch will end up putting me in rooms and in places that I would not have gotten to without potentially having this. For example, this guy has a ton of connections. I could probably leverage those connections simply through our now reinforced relationship. And when I'm traveling and I meet other business people, this may be that conversation starter that introduces me to some guy who I potentially do business with down the line. So I really do think there's a lot of potential to meet really influential people through having a nice timepiece. Now, this is all speculation. This may not be the case, but this is what I'm expecting to happen. The third reason that I decided to purchase this watch with such short notice was the marketing potential. For example, right now I'm recording a video all about this watch, and to buy a watch you need to have at least some level of wealth. So this may garner me more views through this YouTube video, but also through other content where I have this watch. For example, on TikTok and Instagram, as for my coaching business, that's where a lot of our traffic comes from. So as I mentioned, even if this watch just keeps and stores its value, but I get to enjoy it and wear it, and then also get the marketing benefit of wearing it in videos where people see it and then later on do business with me, that's a win. And the fourth reason is that for me personally, I've always been very scarce. I don't come from money, so even when I've made money, I've never wanted to spend it. You know, a lot of people, when they make their first 10K a month, start spending, $2,000 a month on rent. They buy a nice watch. They immediately upgrade and buy the fanciest laptop. I never did any of that. In fact, I used to spend like $500 a month on rent, even when I was making like 20 and 30K per month profit. So for me, this is a step now into abundance. This is a step away from scarcity into an abundant lifestyle, because there's definitely a certain level and sense of new identity. And I've literally had this watch for a few hours, and as I wear it more and I go to a nice restaurant, wear some nice clothes, and wear this nice timepiece, I feel like that effect is going to compound. For example, my parents, who don't know about this watch yet, will probably think I'm insane, because to them, they would see this as a car. They're thinking, why would you not buy a car or save the money in a bank than buy a chunk that you just put on your wrist and it tells the time? So, identity shift that will help me be more abundant and level up in my personal life. And that's it. That's a wrap. That's why I bought the watch. I'd love to get your thoughts, and if you think it's a cool watch, do you like it? And would you personally buy a watch like this? Let me know in the comments below. See you in the next one.